a Disney fighting game? A surprising thing that has yet to happen. Does it need to happen? From these various types of creative work from fans and not so creative, scary, questionable work from fans, we know it can work. But can it? The question is, can it really happen? We know Disney is willing to put their characters in a crossover at any time they want to. But in a fighting game setting? Well, let's find out. Right now. Bronze stage is where we discuss the chance and the scenario that we need to make this game happen. And the question at hand is, well, can it happen? So we're going to do something very interesting for this video today. In order to figure out the chance, which then leads to the scenario, I decided to do an analysis of all Disney games of the past. And hopefully, right then and there will give us a proper chance gauge of, well, the chances of this ever happening now. So I did a look, and honest with you, Disney games are hit and misses. I think you can all agree with that. I think that if you grew up in a certain era, you're more favorable to those era of games than anything. But I guess one thing we can't agree on is that they have been collectively getting more downgraded and kind of worse. I think that's due to the era bringing certain games up. For example, I think that the 2002 era, the PlayStation 2 era, Xbox era, probably even the Sega Genesis era of things are probably the height of Disney games in a way, for its best time. And as we get to the Xbox 360 era and Xbox One era of things, even mobile, that's where we start to get the really bad misses when it comes to Disney games. So what does this all mean? I think that ever since Disney has been a very successful movie thing going on, that everything else, their entertainment, their TV, their television, their video games have been significantly downgraded, and that they've been kind of abusing those sections. And honestly, I think it shows a lot, not only in the television shows, but in the games as well, and the quality of them. There really isn't anything there. So that answers that question, and that can help us see. Now we know that if they're going to make something nowadays, they may not be the best of quality. But now let's move on to the next analysis. What developer can develop this fighting game? Can it be Capcom? Capcom has done a lot of projects with Disney in the past, like very much in the past, or in the Nintendo Entertainment System era / Genesis era of things. They have helped publish and develop a lot of things, pretty much everything here. Darkwing Duck, DuckTales 1 and 2, and Chip and Dale, and of course their version of Aladdin, which you may think is worse or better than the Genesis version. What's interesting about this is they also brought some of these back in the Afternoon Collection around 2017, which I'm sure that's the same time around Marvel vs. Capcom. So that seems to be the last time Capcom has actually really worked with Disney, which is some good progress. This is something also I found interesting. Both Aladdin and The Lion King from the past has been re-released into an HD version on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which means that Disney has pretty much some interest in bringing some of their old games forward, possibly do something similar to what those old games did. So they could be on a rise of maybe putting some quality in the gaming division of things, just due to that alone. But I'm pretty sure it's based off the sales of that collection itself. But back to Capcom though, I don't think they're particularly in a good spot. See, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite showed footage for a reason was a disaster. And though Capcom had a good relationship with Marvel and Disney on 2 separate occasions, and before Disney acquired Marvel, it seems to be that because Disney owns Marvel and Marvel's Capcom did bad, and you may assume due to some things that has been said and heard rumors and whatever, that it's kind of Disney's fault how Marvel versus Capcom was the way that it was, that the relationship may not be the best right now. So we'll take that in consideration. We'll put a hold on that right now and go to the question, was there ever a fighting game in the making? I did find something, and anybody that did research on this probably would have found this too, but this is the closest thing I've ever found. I found this from a website, Game to Screen to Theme, and here's a quote with this image talking about, now this is the closest thing we had to a Disney fighting game. Start with quote. Right away, you can see the common theme throughout. Had Disney gone through with the project, the game would have primarily featured characters that were apt to be presented as fighting characters, while most of our villains, characters like King Louie and Beast, appear in the roster due to their wild and at times violent behavior. This shows one thing about the game: Disney would have allowed only characters that fit the concept. Certainly you would have put Mickey Mouse and Disney princesses except Mulan, or the cute sidekick in the game all about beating each other up. Characters who have shown to have violent tendencies, and I'd all have to say this, but a good concept must also come with excellent gameplay mechanic. It would have borrowed from Nintendo Super Smash Bros. Series. It would have been trash. And also that same article kind of features it also says that it would have never looked like, he assumes it would have never looked like anything on the screen here, which I agree with. First of all, this is around the time of Epic Mickey, and the developers that they get this from was the developers that made Epic Mickey. And let's be real, it would have never turned out great. Not because of the developers, I just think it would have been really trash. Around that time, and if you try to copy out Smash Brothers, even a competent Smash Brothers game ripoff, like PlayStation All-Stars, I liked that game, I thought the game was good, got pretty much crapped on. So what's the percentage? You see the percentages here. Why is it 20%? There's a 20% chance of this game ever happening. I think the key details here of analysis was that Capcom did work together in the past with Disney, but whatever Marvel vs. Capcom happened, whatever happened with that game may affect the current relationships. There was a fighting game considered, but dropped because don't copy off Smash Bros. Now, I say everything outside of movies is lacking soul, and I say television shows as in animated television shows. I've not been seeing anything get better. I mean television shows period too. And it's just been whatever. I think it's time for us to do the scenario. We got 20% chance of this ever happening, so we can continue on with this video. We need to work with a scenario of some kind. Disney and Marvel context, Capcom about the Disney fighting game. So here's the idea here. If you're confused about this little map here, this little line thing. Red, I would say, is around 1 to 2 months. And the line between could range from 3 months of time in between to the next big event. So I could in between of it. So I put Disney right here, this between 2 events. So 1 month to 2 months of contact with each other. Maybe 6 months in between go by before they contact each other about the same thing. Alright, so that's how that kind of works. We move on to a reasonable deals formed. Now I did say it could be, they could ask for if they can work on a proper Marvel vs. Capcom 4 for the fans to make up for that bullshit that is Infinite, but that's just me being hopeful. Anyway, a reasonable deal is formed. They're both happy about it. The graph kind of goes up here, the lines here go up because that kind of is a positive thing. If it goes down, it's negative, or it goes back to being normal. All the roster concepts, longevity, DLC, many back and forths between approvals, very long time. And then of course we finally go back down to development, which of course at any point in time this could have happened in real life, or this could be happening now, or well, even now in development could be happening. We got the scenario, we got the chance to do my own analysis. Hopefully give me your thoughts on that in the comments below. But without further ado, it's time to go on to the next stage, the Silver stage. Let's go. In the Silver stage, we go through the designs and pretty much potential designs Capcom can do with the game while also putting my creative input in the mixture of things, and also trying to iron out the potential problems we might have in the games and how pretty much to fix them. One of them is, why would Disney characters even fight each other? The name Galaxy Tournament is there for a reason, and it's not just a corny name. And you're gonna have to give me a pass on that, because there's literally a Disney game called Hide and Seek for the GameCube. I'm getting a pass on that. So, pretty much, Galaxy Tournament. So why the name? Well, having the name Galaxy and it being a tournament brings up open up possibilities you could do with the gameplay itself. Kind of explains, it could explain the gameplay and actually the tournament aspect of it pretty well. So, let's go to the menu. Now we have arcade, tournament, battle, and journey. Of course, there's options and stuff, but these are like pretty much the more playable ones. Of course, I can definitely see it having some customizable options for the titles and a possible level system. But we're gonna go ahead and go to arcade, and we're gonna select hard on the arcade, and I'm going to explain, and we're gonna go right to the roster and also explain the theme here. Now, remember, it's all galaxies, all classy. This is what I think Capcom would do. I think it would be definitely a callback to older Disney games and a classic Disney feel, while it being brand new. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and explain why the character selection looks the way it does. Let's give it a story. Galaxy Tournament. So why would Disney heroes enter a tournament in the galaxy? Pretty much, well, let's just say the story is this. Disney characters, very important scenes throughout Disney history is missing, and characters within those scenes as well. So they're all called to a tournament, in which, of course, the characters have to partake in to gain those scenes, memories, and even people back. That's pretty much the journey mode, where you can discover all that and unlock stuff from there. But as far as characters are concerned, well, that's pretty much it. And this is pretty much a space station where you go to each world and select the characters that are playable to you, that are not missing, and whatever. And these characters right here are the characters that I think 100% absolutely will be in a fighting game and needs to be in one. Starting from the top to the bottom: Simba, Hercules, Tarzan, Beast, Peter Pan, and Aladdin with Genie. And I'm going to explain why Aladdin's with Genie in a little second, or a few minutes, but I just want to talk about why I chose these people. These characters. These characters are very, very essential. They definitely bring the game up to another level. They're classic Disney characters. There may be a problem with bringing Tarzan in, I'm aware, due to the rights with Tarzan and that whole thing, but I put him in there anyway because he would probably make a pretty good moveset. Just thinking about that alone, I put him in. And it covers a pretty good variety of points in time of the Renaissance era. Well, not Peter Pan, it's not part of the Renaissance era, but you get the picture. Pretty much everybody else is. So these characters are a must. They're an absolute must and need to be in. But what they have more than that, like, come on, Aladdin without Jafar. So where's the villains? So I'm thinking the essential theme here is heroes versus villains. So right now we have a total of 6 heroes. Now we add 6 villains. So let's name them just in case you don't know. Top to bottom: Hades, Scar, Gaston, Clayton, Jafar, and Captain Hook. Fair. I think these 12 characters are a must. And I think if you include Beast and Tarzan, they could be included by themselves. But if you're gonna choose roster picks for a rival villain pick, hero villain dynamic, Gaston and Clayton will definitely be there to accompany them if they're there. Even though I did say Tarzan and Beast could hold their own on the roster, but just going on with the basic thing that we have, this is good. Mostly Renaissance picks. In fact, besides Peter Pan and Captain Hook, all these other picks are Renaissance Disney characters. So, do we need any more Renaissance characters in here? And so far, all of them have been male picks too, which already some of you be like, that's a little iffy. Definitely has to be some female fighters in this game. It's Disney. It has to be. Come on now. So, I think we should add some more. Maybe a little bit more Renaissance, but maybe this time without the hero-villain aspect as much. So, I believe, who else could we add? Let's just say, okay, I think Mulan and Shen Yu. Yeah, Mulan and Shen Yu. And of course, we'll add, I think that's the last rival pick we do here, a villain aspect. So, that we could really do from the Renaissance at the moment. So, Mulan, Shen Yu, and we're gonna go separate from the hero villain aspect right now. We'll still do hero and villain, but not from the same movie or whatever. So we do Wreck-It Ralph and Elsa. Of course, she has to be in this game. She's too popular, and she has a frozen thing that can easily frozen moveset that can easily transfer to a fighting game moveset. Wreck-It Ralph, easy fighting game character. Now we have Maleficent and Ursula. Maleficent, obviously, nobody but Maleficent can really fight, except for the Born Prince, but nobody wants that character in here. So, she's in. Ursula, I know Little Mermaid gets Eric too, but Ariel, if you can make a character, that would be nice. But most likely, there's not really much you can do unless you be completely creative. But if you just want to, have somebody as a base fighter, Ursula's the one you're gonna choose from Little Mermaid as a villain character. So far, I think it's pretty even. We got mostly Renaissance characters though, with the exception, of course, like I said, Peter Pan, Captain Hook, Maleficent, but everybody else Renaissance, except for Wreck-It Ralph and Elsa. That's it. So we're definitely gonna need to change this up. Now, Disney has rights to so many characters. It has so many characters at its disposal, especially characters that could fight in the fighting game. So where do we go next? We got a lot of good movies here. We got a few female cast members here, a lot of them. I mean, got some pretty strong choices. So where do we go from here? I say we look away from the movies for a second and start to look at the other things. Oh, oops, I'm not supposed to be there yet. Actually, the other movies, in fact, other outside the Renaissance, and start looking at Pixar. Buzz Lightyear, Miss Incredible, Mr. Incredible, Syndrome, and Zurg. Where's Woody? Wow. Here's the thing. You really gonna put make a Galaxy game without putting Buzz Lightyear in it? That's one thing. And Zurg, they're in the galaxy. Another thing is that Buzz Lightyear is much more of a capable fighter than Woody is. Even because Buzz Lightyear, don't forget, he's had his own TV show as well. So it'll be Buzz Lightyear and Zurg as a little hero villain thing for the Pixar people. But here's something interesting too: Miss Incredible and Mr. Incredible. Now, I know I could just put Mr. Incredible, but it really would suck not to have Mr. Incredible in here too, or Elastigirl in here as well. So I decided to put two of them in there instead of placing Woody there. I know Woody might be a good pick. I like Woody too. We all do, but instead of putting Woody there with Buzz, I decided to do Mr. Incredible, Miss Incredible, Buzz Lightyear with a rival villain Zurg, and both Miss Incredible and Mr. Incredible can face Syndrome. Now they could be from Part 2 era, but also the Galaxy Tournament thing, the storyline here could be that they could bring people back from the dead or from different points in time as well. And of course the story here would be that they're missing their children, they have to find them, whatever. This is good, but this is the only Pixar character they're going to add. And only 4 of them? I mean 5? Boom. TV show era. I just put them all right there. Now this roster's getting super good. But you see a few questionable choices there. Let's talk about it. Now instantly you realize, well, why is Perry there? But oh crap, Goliath's there, and Demona's there, and Magica De Spell is there from DuckTales too. Oh, the Negaduck is there. And that's pretty cool. Oh, Kim Possible's there with Shiva. Whatever. But if you really appreciate all these shows to some degree, you realize that this is the TV division of fighters for this game, and you realize that it's super balanced. It really is balanced. You got something for everybody here. And even, I know there's a newer DuckTales, which I have heard is pretty good. The newer DuckTales, the remake, is pretty good. I have to figure out for myself, but also, there you go. You can have alternate designs for both the old DuckTales look and the new ones as well. And I kind of separate Darkwing Duck from DuckTales because they were a separate show at one point. I think Darkwing Duck is also in the new DuckTales as well. So, but I'm separating them as separate shows, but so they can have their own characters. Yes, that's 4 ducks in the roster so far. Pretty much the ducks are going to be pretty much the Hadouken people in this game, I guess. The Shotos, I guess you could say, of the game. But pushing that to the side, look at the roster here. So far, we added TV show Perry. He could be gameplay-wise. He's probably the same size as Scrooge McDuck. Ultimately, it's getting more balanced, but I have to finish off the roster right here now. There's no way we can't add Mickey Mouse to the game. Mickey, Goofy, Donald, with Pete as the rival villain to Mickey, and pretty much all 3 Goofy and Donald as well. But there's no way you're not going to add them to the game. But here's something very cool. Horn King from the Black Cauldron. Now that movie did terrible, but they actually had blood in that movie too. That was pretty cool. But the point was that he's in the game and he's representative of the era that pretty much, well, kind of the end of the era, where Peter Pan, Captain Hook, and Maleficent were all about. And of course, we have another era, 2000s era, kind of near where Tarzan is a character from Treasure Planet, Long John Silver. Of course, you initially realized that Horn King and Long John Silver were both part of that concept art. There was no way I wasn't going to add these 2 to the game. Of course, we got Dr. Falsier from The Princess and the Frog. Now, we just selected Aladdin and Beauty and Beast. Beauty and Beast, obviously. So, we're going to demo these characters for the gameplay. But I'm going to finish up talking about this roster for a second. Look how balanced this is. Not a single Marvel, Star Wars character in sight. We don't need them. Disney has all the characters they need to make a perfect fighting game. This is base roster too. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, blah blah blah. It's a total of 40 characters. A 40 character roster is very reasonable. So let's go ahead and go to the stages. Now here's something interesting. Remember about the scenes I said, scenes missing from history? Now, instead of picking a stage, you would pick initially you pick a stage, but then from the stage you could pick scenes in the stage. So that's why they'll probably be up to little stages, and probably pick a scene that you can unlock through journey mode or tournament mode or whatever. So let's go on to a Tarzan stage right here and finally discuss the gameplay. Brawl. All right. Oh boy. Now, how in the world are we gonna make these Disney characters fight? I come up with something interesting, something I think Capcom would like to do, and something that I think creatively would do wonders. Now, you can't just do what other Disney games have done in the past and rely on character power alone. We had a great roster, 40 characters in base, which means that it may not be 2D animated, maybe 3D. But, you know, at least there's reasonable picks to go with. Now, of course, let's talk about the gameplay. I think simplicity is key, especially when it comes to a Disney fighting game. You're going to get some younger crowds in. You get crowds that, don't know how to play fighting games or are not particularly good at them. I come up with a system that's simple enough, easy to learn, hard to master type of thing. That'll be perfect for Disney characters to face each other in. And of course, for people to pick up inside the game. I mean, during their play in the game of any age. So, let's talk about the mouse meter. Very simple design, and of course, an obvious one too. Now, there has 3 gauges: the assist gauge, magic gauge, and the comeback gauge. Now, of course, if there was an option for a 2v2 or 3v3 alongside 1v1, which I think the main mode should be 1v1 or 2v2. Of course, you could do assist, but the assist gauge, let's explain that. It fills slowly as the match goes on. It starts as soon as the match starts. Powers outside help allows for some characters to perform assist-only moves, or more of them. As you see, I talked about Aladdin with the Genie instead of Genie being a separate character. The Genie is very OP as a character, but having him alongside Aladdin makes for an incredibly interesting character dynamic between him and Aladdin inside a fighting game. Aladdin can hold his own, but with the help of Genie, it'll be more interesting. That's why the assist gauge will be, instead of the magic gauge actually, is the regular special bar. And the assist gauge is using the moves of characters like Genie and your partner. Which, of course, if you were, let's say, Aladdin's tied with the Beast himself, he's going to, and using the assist move, is going to come from Genie instead of the assist character, which I think will be interesting. A dynamic, because he already is partnered with somebody, you know what I mean? Unless Genie's gone. We'll get to that. The magic gauge, as I said, yeah, it feels as you take damage and do damage. It's your regular special bar meter. Allows for characters to perform special super moves regularly. Gives some characters more options like normals and special moves depending on the character. Basically, there's a color code to each character. Aladdin specializes in the assist department. If you're a magic character, you'll be like a blue tinge. You'll specialize in that department. It's easily detectable when you look at it. The same coloration between the name and the color, the avatar, the character avatar, as it would be. Let's just say like Mickey Mouse. He probably a magic type, which you'll have tons of options, but probably weak attack and defense. That's how that would go. And as far as the comeback meter, well, that goes to someone like Beast. And well, let's explain that, right? So the comeback gauge. The comeback gauge is kind of like what it is. It's a comeback gauge, but everybody has one. Everybody has a comeback gauge. So the explanation is supposed to pop up right now, and this is taking way too long. There we go. The comeback gauge feels as you take damage. Depending on the character, once you activate it, your character gains a specific power-up. Character-specific power. For each level, the power-up will be different but stronger. For certain characters, the power-ups increase in incredible amounts. Watch out! Like Beast, for example. So each level is a certain power-up. Let's just say level 2 for Beast. If it goes to that level, you can't do the same thing as you would do with level 1. It changes. So maybe it might change his speed a little bit, make him a little bit faster. Maybe level 1 gives him a little power boost. Level 3 gives him a slight health regeneration once you use it. And that goes for each character, and each character is a different level. It could be the same thing. For example, Aladdin could have health generation, but is at a higher level, and Beast is at a lower level. So depending on the character, which opens up an incredible dynamic of things, would really do good. Now, there's a secret thing to this. I really thought about this. The name bar as well. Now, what if the name is full? Now, this is an idea I think will work too as a dynamic. Now, besides the regular fighting and your meters and stuff, if your name somehow, by doing specific things, like doing a specific combo with Beast within the rounds, or doing special condition stuff for a specific character, only specifics during the match, or maybe during the stage, your name can fill up. Once your name fills up, that allows you to escape a move, or be invincible for a couple of times, or just be like a hero moment. So use up your secret name bar. There will be a button to compensate, to do that all with, of course. Probably very similar to the combat button. Of course, you got the arrow pointing here. So you're probably wondering, okay, what happens here? What's going on here? All these are 5s. So basically, you have an interesting idea. If all the gauges are 5, for some reason, I don't know how you would do it, and your name is full, you get and depending on the stage as well, or if you know the code, you can summon a very godlike Disney figure. Let's just say you summon Yensid, and he'll do a huge damage attack. Of course, the other player can block it, but it'll be such a huge attack, and it'll be very hard to come back from. So that's another way to come back, in a way. Alright, well, I had to cut that off for a second. Pretty much done with the super stage, but now it's time to go off to the gold. Before we go off and finish this video off with the gold stage, time for the community survey. And I asked on Twitter a while ago, what is the this Disney movie here? Everybody voted Chicken Little. Smart people. Oh man, if Chicken Little showed up in this game, that would be terrible. Yeah, I know he showed up in Kingdom Hearts 2. Of course I didn't use him. I don't care how good he was, because that movie is trash. And he only showed up for promotional reasons. That's it. And then speaking of Kingdom Hearts, I asked one more for now. Would you like Sora from Kingdom Hearts to be a guest fighter in a Disney fighting game? And well, we got some interesting stuff here. Yes, he'll be my name is 42% of the vote, 42.9%. And we got yeah, but DLC. I understand that sentiment wholeheartedly. That one I could do. Especially if we have Donald and Goofy already in the game, and they can borrow some stuff from Kingdom Hearts if the developers wanted to do that. Maybe, I don't know. And of course, there'd be no please, and of course that's 14% alongside Samurai 8 is trash, which for some reason that's also 14% of the vote too. Listen, interesting, but the majority of votes say yes, he'll be my main. I would love Sora in a fighting game like that. I think in a Disney fighting game, he should be DLC. No exceptions. You know, Sora from Kingdom Hearts could be very interesting in this gameplay style. If there's variations, you could choose, obviously, 1, 2, and 3, him from different games. But I think that just in story alone would be hilarious to see how they will put him in. That's even if they do Journey DLC or Story Mode DLC, which I think, of course, I forgot to mention that Story Mode would kind of be like side scroll type of thing, or it could be battle to battle type of thing. Either way, it will look beautiful in 2D as well, more than 3D. I guess we could all agree with that. But hopefully in the community survey, we had even more questions in future Fighting Vision episodes. But now it's time to continue on and finalize the gold stage and talk about the aftermath of the game. We got the roster, we got the gameplay, we got the 20% chance of this ever happening. I'm just throwing, not exactly just throwing out a number, but that's the chance I gave out. We never know, it could be happening right now. But DLC. Alright, so obvious characters that you feel probably going to be missing from the roster that should definitely be added. This is what I think the season pass for this game would be. If combined with the roster and the gameplay we talked about, this game could be a seriously good fighting game that we all didn't know we even needed right now. So, adding Jack Skeleton, Mona, Mike, and Sully as a two-pair, kind of similar to Aladdin and Genie. Baymax, Woody, of course, Woody. Oogie Boogie to go along with Jack, definitely. Maybe even a Halloween stage, you know what I mean? Or Miranda, I think that's her name, Miranda, from Brave. She has a very nice, she could be very similar to Hawkeye in that sense. You may want to replace her with Robin Hood, but I think she's a lot better aesthetically, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, than Robin Hood is. And I do see some really weird, questionable stuff like adding Calhoun from Wreck-It Ralph in it. And also the possibility of adding a fan-requested characters at the end. Who knows? It could be Minnie Mouse for all I know. Trolls can vote for Minnie Mouse, or of course, if people vote for Woody and he's already on there, they probably would have to tell everybody the characters beforehand and then let everybody know you get 2 more characters you get to choose from. So that's just pretty much as far as I can really get into the aftermath of the DLC. I think this game, if done the way I said, it could go really well in execution. But that's it. Can it happen? Well, it surely can. And if done the way I put in the video and executed way better, it could definitely make some damn money. My name is Shintone. Thank you for coming for this episode of the vision. There'll be much more to come, and much more work will be put into it as we go. Crazy amounts. So, until the next confirmation, I will be seeing you. And thank you for watching. Peace.